Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you back to the Dynamic Decisions podcast, where we explore the strategies that drive successful decision making in the world of business. Why? Because the best decisions come from great conversations. I'm your host, Tisha Cable, CEO of C Model Data. And today we have a self-made, hustle-oriented serial entrepreneur who operates one of the most interesting intersections in modern consumer businesses, where clinical wellness, premium beauty, and entertainment culture converge. Ooh, I'm so excited. Please welcome Sarina to the show. She is a Toronto-based founder, CEO of Phoilex. She's also the co-founder of, I want to say this, SSKN Skin Firm, and a talent manager with the Commission Entertainment Corp. So her story actually starts with empathy, not market research. She grew up watching her father struggle with severe psoriasis for decades. He described these flares as this constant sunburn that never went away. I'm giving you guys this story because it's so important to the conversation that we're going to have. So the prescribed steroids really seemed to do more harm than good, and his skin eventually grew immune to the treatment. I am going to stop right there. I'm going to let Sarina introduce herself, and then we're going to talk more about that story and get all the good stuff. And then I'm going to come back and start asking and bombarding you with all the questions that I do on this show. So welcome to the show. So glad to have you here. Tell us more about you and Phoilex.
You're amazing. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. I love that you know all of what you know, and thank you for that introduction. That was so sweet. My name is Sarina. Yeah, I'm here. I'm from Toronto. I started Phoilex back in, it was a idea, so to say, back in 2018. And then it was 2020 COVID, essentially, when I was ready to hit the ground running. And then COVID happened, but that's essentially when we got started, and we officially hit the market in 2024. We launched the brand in the United States. So we're currently direct to consumer in the US. So that was a hurdle as an entrepreneur Canadian navigating the US and trying to figure out total different regulations and taxes and all of the above. So yes, I'm glad to be here, and I'm excited to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's just jump right on in. So as I was describing a moment ago, Phoilex was born from your family's struggles with chronic skin conditions. And so that's not really a manufacturer type of market opportunity. That's a
No,
genuine empathy
yeah,
situation. So when
yeah.
you're dealing with these types of things and your own eczema, I had eczema too, so I know
Mm.
what this is like.
I gotta send you some.
What were you seeing that the existing skincare market wasn't really addressing, and what gap made you say,
Yeah.
I need to build this myself?
Yeah. So essentially, I grew up with eczema myself since a young girl. And traditionally, my parents brought me to the doctor, and it was a steroid, but it was very mild for me. So that meant it was like under my underpits a lot. So, like, embarrassing to wear shirts like that showed that. It was in my elbows, but it was in small places, and it would come and go. So it was really easy for me to maintain as a young kid. But I found that through high school and just growing up, I like natural things. I'm not somebody that is into medicine when I don't need to take it. I'm not big on taking anything. So I've always been into herbs, Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese medicine, all of the above. So I've always gone to the natural food stores and picked up ointments like calendula ointments instead of using Vaseline for myself. And I learned what worked for my skin. And that was me in my younger ages. But then as I grew older and I was in my early 20s and my mid 20s, I began to see my dad's skin as something completely different that I didn't really realize as such a young girl. And why? Your dad, he portrays things like it's nothing, like it's all good. And that's the way I grew up. Like, my dad had psoriasis. He put cream on every night before bed. Somebody would help him with it or whatnot. And he did it in the morning, and he went to work, and he came back, and that was normal, right? But I didn't realize how much it actually affected his quality of life until I was an adult and I could actually understand it better. And my dad would be on the severe side of psoriasis. So scalp to toes, every day, big patches. And it's a little different from eczema. similar but different families, and it never goes away. It's also like an autoimmune disease. So
Mhm.
I just remember in my mid-20s, my dad not being able to sleep at night, struggling to put t-shirts on, it's hurting his skin, describing his skin to me as a sunburn that just wouldn't go away. And I'm, well, what's going on? Let's go to the doctor. Let's ask some more questions. And the answer all the time was, you have psoriasis. This is a long life journey that you're going to deal with. And the only thing I can help you is a steroid. And how can there only be steroids? I was banging my head. And it was also difficult for me because for me, okay, well, I get in the crooks of my elbows. How am I going to tell somebody that's in severe pain all the time, let's stop doing certain things? You're nervous.
Right, right.
And, my dad was going through cardiac issues, health issues. And no matter what, my dad couldn't get the time off work. And I could really tell that he needed it. So that something just sparked in me. And I was starting to go through his prescriptions, and I remember one of them, Instalar, actually, I still remember the name, and it's a foam bottle. And at the bottom of the bottle, there's a flammable label. And something was just in my brain. I'm like, Dad, you're using it too much. I think you're overusing it. I think you're using it too much. And of course, we're buying the Vinos and the CeraVes, and we're buying everything, right? But those
Yeah.
things are just moisturizing him. They're not really doing anything. It's just kind of putting moisture on top of his skin just so that he's not feeling cracky or dry.
Mhm.
You're not sleeping. This isn't working. My uncle, his brother also had similar issues to what's going on. So I actually put my father on CBD back in 2017 ish. And originally he was like, I don't know. I don't want to get high. Like, what's this going to do? You're not gonna get high. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna feel great. It's actually CBD. It's the medicinal part of the plant. It's really good for inflammation. They're using it for cancer. They're using it for all these things. Let's just try it. Let's just take it. Let's see what happens. So he started taking that, and within 3 months, his pain was starting to come down a bit. He was being able to fall asleep at night, so he was able to get himself to sleep throughout the night. So that triggered me. That triggered a spark in me. That
Mm.
triggered my curiosity. And I wanted to dig deeper. And that's when I dug deeper. That was the beginning of it.
So you've got this, you've developed, not you got, you have developed what you call a proprietary
I,
phytoactive blend that
yes.
combines botanical ingredients with clinical science. So that's a very specific positioning in this market that's really crowded with natural, quote unquote, claims and
Yes.
clinical, quote unquote, claims that are often really positioned as opposites. So, how did you avoid the trap of being neither here nor there? Like, what did it take to convince pharmacists and dermatologists to partner on something that bridges
I'm like,
both of the worlds?
if, any of the pharmacists that are going to be on the team is listening to this, they thought I was crazy in the beginning. When I pretty much did my studying on my own. I was in the library. I was buying books. I'm curious. I love learning, period. So I came up with this idea. How can I create a steroid like product without using steroids? There are other good ingredients on the market. Like there's vitamin D3s out there. It's not natural. Technically, it's scientifically formulated, but what else is out there that we can use that we can mimic a steroid? So I did my best. I was like pulling stuff from Eastern medicine and Western medicine. What can I do cosmetically? What can I not do cosmetically? And I built out this idea. And in the beginning, there's no way like that's something like that natural could work. And I'm like, you know what? Why not? Why not? I don't see it. So why not? So then once I had the idea of what I wanted to see and what I believe would work, what am I going to do now? I can't make this stuff. So in the beginning, it was a little fun. Like my mom and I were making bombs, like in-house, like bombs, coconut oil, this, that, CBD. And I was giving it to my dad. My dad's like, yeah, it feels good. Like it feels nice on my skin, but it's not there, but it
Yeah,
feels great. So how am I going to do this? I'm not a chemist. So I
right.
was reaching out to contract manufacturers, and it was COVID.
Mm.
Yeah. So everything was shut down. But what helped me during that time was I'm not in the office. I'm not out as much. So I had that time to really own in on everything. And I spent even more time on the brand and developing the brand. So contacting people, contacting manufacturers, and I just felt I wasn't getting what I wanted across. Everybody's like, well, MOQs were this high, and well, yeah, we'll send you a formula. And I'm like, no, I want to be part of the development process.
Right.
My dad's already agreed, hey, I've done clinical trials in the past. He did a clinical trial in his early 20s and it went really bad, went sour, blew up his skin. He was on IVs, everything for a
Oh,
week,
wow. Yeah.
but totally different. So it's like, I've done it all. I've tried it all. Why not? And the one thing my dad has never done is injections, like biologics. And
Mhm.
that's because there's so many side effects and we have cardiac issues in our family. So it's something he's never tried. So I was unhappy. It's not going to work. And I'm talking to some of the pharmacists and what am I going to do? I got to find somebody. So essentially we came to the decision that I would create my own R&D lab. So a small lab. It was actually at the back of my mom's store at the time, really small room, size of a closet. And I hired a chemist and I was able to be, this is what I was looking at. They were like, well, this is not going to work. This and this won't go together. And together we were able to create and develop the products that are currently on the market and the new ones that are coming out. And I fell in love with the development process. It's actually my favorite part. And to this day, I'm super involved with it. So, with that being said, the issue is so serious. Creams launch all the time on the market, right?
Right,
They launch
right.
all the time. But when you're talking to people with psoriasis and eczema, like they're nervous, especially when
Yeah,
their skin is like really, really bad.
that's
They're
right.
scared. So,
Right,
I can't just launch this. I've got
right.
to do the clinically backed. I got to go clinical. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go all the way.
That's right.
So my chemist, they have a big free from list. And one of my manufacturers also calls me a little crazy, but I'm like, we got to do what we got to do. So they're amazing. My chemists are great. Love my team. They went ahead and all of the ingredients that we use come with clinically backed data. So that's step one in the process. We created our own blend also from research, which is the phytoactive blend. But the last step in the process was getting validated by Health Canada to do an actual cohort study.
Yeah.
That took us 2 years.
Mm.
So I was essentially ready to launch Phoilex in 2023. It took a year for Health Canada's full approval of the trial. And
Yeah,
then we had to find the doctors, do the scouting, and we
that's
ended,
right.
it took a lot of time, like 6, 7 months plus doing the trial. So it took us back about 2 years. But in the end, we finished with 19 patients and
Wow.
we were published in a pharmacist journal for
Wonderful.
pharmacists all around the world. And we also were published in a dermatological journal, which is a peer-reviewed journal. So it's a amazing accomplishment for us. So once
It
that
really
happened,
I'm so proud of you.
thank you.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. You know what's great is so your origin story about Folius is really all about the heart. It's empathy driven, right? You're
Yeah.
solving this personal family problem. I want you to think a little bit now. Tell me how you've thought about scale. So, as you scale, you've won these awards like the Shape Skin Award, for
Mhm.
example. You're dealing with dermatologists, you're dealing with pharmacists and retail partners. So
Yeah.
the business grows more and less the business actually is what's growing and it becomes more clinical and becomes less personal. So how do you actually maintain that empathy part as the business gets bigger and more complex? How do you keep it from becoming just another skincare brand that's chasing around market share?
That's a great question. I think that looking at my dad and looking at modern Western medicine and people in general, people are scared to ask questions. Like they're scared to question authority. And my personality is bipolar opposite. If sometimes a doctor tells me a certain thing, I'm telling him, well, why are they giving you this? And I think that that's why I come in. And I think I'm a voice for the people that have that problem. And when we're formulating, my dad, we got to a really good place with the formula. His skin was in a completely different place, going from 3 flare-ups to like one every 3 months. And okay, we have to remove the steroid, right? Like, are we ready yet? Like, are you comfortable? Because now we got to really see if this product's working. So we did that. And what happened within a week is his skin completely blew up. He was back in red flames. red skin, all of the above. And I'm freaking out. I'm calling the pharmacist. What's going on? And everybody's
Mhm.
like, relax. Your dad's going through topical steroid withdrawal. He's having an adverse side effect.
Mm,
And what are you talking about? So all of those things that my brain felt like knew something was
mhm,
coming to life now. So then
mhm,
I'm Googling and I find the International Topical Steroid Awareness Network. It's that.
mm.
And now I find that there's millions of people in the world that are going through TSW. So that day was when everything really changed for me completely. And it became my mission was broader because now I connected with Itsan. I talked to the team there. We shared each other's stories, and we've been a proud sponsor ever since. I'm flying out to Atlanta next week for the very first ever topical steroid awareness exhibit with doctors and patients coming looking for help. So our goal is to continue education. I think one of our pillars here is education. It's voice education, answering questions to the best of our ability, whether it not be me, a doctor, a pharmacist, we host lives. It's the forefront of Phoilex, and that's the goal that I continue with.
Awesome. So, this is for our audience. I want you to think about your own business origins. How much are they driven by genuine problems that you or your community face? I want you to share your experiences with us on LinkedIn and other social media using Dynamic Decisions Podcast. Okay. I kind of want to cross over into the other part of your experience. So you really understand how to build hype and to navigate, cultural zeitgeist. And this comes from your work in entertainment. So consumer wellness is increasingly about community and cultural positioning and really not just efficacy. So when you're building community around Phoilex, how do you deliberately create the cultural narrative, the one that makes someone want to identify with your brand and not just buy the product?
I feel like products for everybody, babies to adults, we were able to do that. I feel like it's genuine. Like for me, what we do with my marketing team is we let people try the product and let them be genuinely aligned to the product before we're paying anybody to promote anything. Like I'm a small business. I don't want to be paying influencers thousands of dollars to post my product. I prefer that I'm organically aligning with people at this point of our business and I'm organically growing and we call it our Phoilex fam. And we've got an amazing group of women and men who genuinely are attracted to the brand and not just to myself, but to my team and to the products, and they genuinely like them. So that's the goal for me on scale is to actually build a community of people that are using the products, enjoying the products, and it's not like just a check at the end of the day for them.
So good. So another thing is you're rooted in Toronto, but you're really thinking globally about growth.
100%.
So yeah, you were recently selected as a top 25 company at the DMZ Women Innovation Summit out of over 200 different applicants. Toronto does have a very distinctive entrepreneurial ecosystem and a very distinctive cultural flavor. But
Yeah.
when you're thinking about scaling beyond that, it does also need some different kind of strategies. So what are you learning about business that you actually need to adapt? Are your current insights from your success in Toronto actually serving you, or are you kind of discovering
No,
what works in this
I think
market? Yeah.
right, like,
Yeah.
I think the reason why I chose the US is because I felt limited in Toronto. I felt like I was stuck. So, even though I had all of these roadblocks throughout creating Foilex, I look back at them and I needed them because it made me revisit what I was doing structurally for the company. So, Canada's so small population-wise in comparison to the United States. You guys also have very different regulations in the United States than CBD is. Like we are federally legal on the whole country for cannabis, CBD, and that's an industry that I've been in for, that's where I've come from. So I gotta change things. So I was nervous, of course. So I had to hire a consultant at the time just to understand the US market.
Sure.
And from consultants, I went into agencies because once again, I can build here. I'm confident in hiring teams. I'm confident in hiring people, but I'm not boots on the ground in the US. And I be honest with you, I wasn't. I was nervous. I got to do this correctly. So I went the agency route. And I did that for 1 year. And I learned that in that time, my confidence came back and I got this. And I pulled back what I would do if it was here locally. And I built, instead of using the agencies, I built our team like accordingly that way and prepared ourselves for growth. So finding the right people, the strategic people, that took time. And it took me going to conferences in the US. It took me jumping on meetings with people and things like that and to get to today.
So good. Okay, here's our favorite thing. We're going to assess your decision-making persona. I'm going to ask you 4 questions that represent different decision-making approaches. And after each one of them, you're going to tell me how much the way I'm asking resonates with how you approach decisions. You'll have a scale of 0 to 100% for each question, but you only get 100% across all 4. So we have to keep track. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll only give them to you one at a time. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Here's the first one. It's called the feeler. It's the values driven leader. So this persona prioritizes alignment with core values and mission, often weighing the human impact and cultural fit of decisions alongside business metrics. So when I'm evaluating a new partnership or product direction for Phoilex, I ask myself, beyond the revenue opportunity and whether it pencils out financially, does this honor the empathy and people first values that got me into this business? If a partnership would be profitable but would require compromising my commitment to clean ingredients or clinical integrity, how much weight do I give values alignment versus the business opportunity? Given that my business was born from watching my father suffer, how do I ensure that growth doesn't turn my mission into just another profit maximizing machine? Okay, Sarina, so how much does approaching your decisions by asking yourself that kind of values based
That's
question?
at the top of the list for sure. And it has to align with business decisions. So I'm gonna give it like 25 or 30%.
Which one, 25 or 30?
There's 4 questions. Let's say 30. Let's go with 30.
30%. So right now you're 30%
'Cause I'm
feeler.
confident in business decisions. So I'm gonna give it that 30.
All right, here we go. Here's the next one. The next one is called the planner. It's a strategic visionary. So this persona focuses on long-term implications and really future-proofing decisions, always thinking several moves ahead and considering multiple scenarios. So when I'm making strategic decisions about how to structure my 3 businesses, I ask myself, what are the second and third order effects across multiple future scenarios? If the wellness industry consolidates and I face pressure from larger competitors with bigger marketing budgets, does my empathy driven positioning become an advantage or a liability? If clinical skincare standards shift due to regulation, does my partnership with pharmacists make me more resilient or less flexible? Am I building businesses that create advantages where each success makes the next opportunity more likely? Or am I operating separate ventures that don't fundamentally strengthen each other? Okay, Sarina, so how much does that forward thinking scenario planning approach resonate with you?
I think forward thinking is important, but you can't foresee the future. So I'm gonna give it like a 15%.
Okay, awesome. Say a little bit more about that.
Well, essentially, I'm a forward thinker. I think the next 10 years ahead. That's what I do. That's just the way my brain works. I'm a visionary. But regulations just changed in the US. It just happened to me. We went from being able to have 0.3% THC in our products to 0%. So what did I do? I'm going crazy over here. I had to make a lot of changes, but I adapted. So I think being able to adapt is the most important part.
So good. That's absolutely the story. That's so good. Here's your next one. It's called the counter, a challenger of assumptions. So this persona naturally questions conventional wisdom and looks for contrarian opportunities, often finding success by zigging when others zag. So when I look at how most skincare brands position themselves, I ask myself, what if the conventional playbooks are actually suboptimal? Most brands are either all in on luxury and aspiration or all in on clinical efficacy. I'm combining clean, natural ingredients with legitimate clinical science and making it accessible rather than premium exclusive. What if the reason so many brands struggle to build genuine loyalty is because they're optimizing for marketing hype rather than solving real problems? Given my unique position, having lived in both the hype driven entertainment world and the evidence based wellness world, what assumptions about how brands should grow could be challenged to create genuinely different market opportunities? All right, Sarina. So, how much does that assumption challenging, contrarian style of questioning resonate with your decision making?
I don't know. I'd say 20%, 15%, not much because a lot of people are in the business to make money and they're just there's big companies in cosmetics and wellness that move so fast that a lot of us just can't keep up with. They're on the next trend before we can even snap our fingers, essentially.
Okay.
So I don't know what I'm at, but like
So,
we
right
got
now you got 65% that you've taken up 65%. So that leaves you just a little bit more left. You ready? All right. So you got 35% left. Let's go. So the next one is the data driver. It's an evidence-based decision maker. So this persona relies heavily on metrics, analytics, and concrete evidence to validate decisions, preferring proof over intuition. So when I'm making major decisions about product innovation and expansion or partnership, I ask myself, what does the evidence actually tell me before I commit? What metrics am I tracking regarding product efficacy, customer retention, and whether the phytoactive blend actually delivers the results I'm claiming? But at the same time, some of the most important outcomes resist clean measurement. How do I quantify whether someone actually feels seen and cared for by my brand or whether they just got a good product? How do I balance making decisions grounded in data while recognizing that whether I'm actually making a difference in people's lives with chronic conditions, because that can't always be easily measured? All right. So, how much is that data driven, evidence focused
yeah, you gotta
approach?
give it the whole 35 at that
Okay.
point, right? We're super data driven. Research is at the core. Yeah, we love it over here. Like we have a blast when we start getting into the research stuff and we hear what we want. We're like, yes, perfect. So yeah, there we
You,
go.
you like when it's proven. So here you are, 30% feeler, 15% planner, 20% counter, and 35% data driver. It's a really good mix. And the truth is, there are probably people on your team who have different varying levels of each one of these things that make it all work and come together.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. So as we kind of wrap up our conversation here, I kind of got one last question for you. All right. You've got these businesses that you've been able to work with and build across wellness, beauty, and entertainment. And each one of those does require different expertise. They all have different operating models. If you could give one piece of advice to other entrepreneurs who are really trying to bridge different industries but maintain integrity and empathy at scale, what would that be?
I would say approach them all similarly. Approach them the way you would, like your leadership style in each situation. It's just a different product. So be you in the situation, give each one your 100%. And if you can't, then maybe it's not for you. But if you can genuinely give each one 100% in what you're doing and still lead with that same direction in multiple different areas, I think you'll be good.
So good. Thank you for sharing your insights and your expertise with us. It has been a pleasure having you on the show. Can you share with our listeners where they can learn more about you, more about Phoilex, Skin Firm, and your work in entertainment?
You can find me on LinkedIn. You'll see all of it there. LinkedIn, Sarina Pilaroscia. On Instagram at Phoilex_relief, RELEAF, Phoilex.com. Yeah, you can find me online.
Wonderful. And for our listeners, hey, thank you for tuning in.
Thank
Remember,
you.
the best decisions come from great conversations. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. We'd love for you to subscribe it, rate it, share it with your network. Let's keep the conversation going on social media using Dynamic Decisions Podcast. And until next time, keep questioning, keep
Okay.
growing, and keep leading with purpose.